How's it? Welcome back. So a good portion of my better performing videos have to do with essentially telling dream characters that they're not real. Now personally, I don't use that sort of language when I bring that kind of stuff up in my lucid dreams. In fact, the only time I've ever said that exact phrase was when I was doing it on purpose as an experiment to see how the dream character would end up reacting. For me, I tend to come at it from a much more positive angle, and I will say something more along the lines of, this is a dream, you're in my dream, we're dreaming, or something, more along those lines. But the vast majority of comments that I get on those videos all essentially say the same thing. They'll be like, man, I brought that up in my lucid dream and the dream character got pissed. They started yelling at them like, you can't say something like that. Like, that's a big no-no. Or they, straight up just started attacking them, or the whole vibe of the dream changed and started to get all dark and sinister. I was messaging with this one person recently who was telling me that, when they told the dream character that the eyes turned black all of a sudden, and they started to, like morph into this demon, and they were going to get attacked by this dream character. But for me, man, mine are pretty much always cool with it. And this is something I do in a lot of my lucid dreams, right? So like my dream characters, they tend to react in like one of three ways. They're either like indifferent and just don't really care, or they don't believe me. But that's a great opportunity for me just to go ahead and prove it to them, or my dream characters will be excited about it. So what I thought I would do for this video is talk a little bit about why I think there is that difference, right? And really, I just think it all comes down to expectation. Like inherently, I can't see why there would be anything wrong with telling a dream character that. And then just talking from personal experience, because it's something I do so much, obviously there doesn't have to be anything inherently wrong with it, because my dream characters are basically always cool with it. And so really, I just think it comes down to expectation, right? So if you were to Google a lucid dream and don'ts list, it's something that you always will see pretty high up on that list, at least at all the lists I've ever seen. We'll say, okay, never ever do that, right? And once you read one of those lists, you're going to be putting all these little seeds of expectation into your head. And, we know that how much of a role expectation plays in the world of dreams, that is just going to drastically raise the chances of you getting a negative outcome if you read one of these lists ahead of time, or if maybe you don't read the list, but you hear somebody mention that, on the side. Even if you're not paying too much attention to it, it's going to be stored back there in your subconscious mind somewhere. And so then it's just gonna, make a hurdle for you to have to get over. And then, if you try it out for the first time and then you do get a negative response from the dream character, well, then that's just going to reinforce that expectation. It's going to be that much bigger of a hurdle and be this negative feedback loop that you're going to have to try to get past in your own personal lucid dreaming practice. But I think for me, because I've basically always, and it's something I've naturally done, from the super early on in my lucid dreaming practice, before I was taking my practice seriously. I'm like, hey, I'm dreaming, and then I want to go off and explore the space and, share that excitement that I'm having with the other dream characters. So I tend to have like a really positive association to it. Like, I really love exploring the dream space with other dream characters. Something else I'll do a lot in my lucid dreams is, especially if this is a dream character who I happen to know in real life, like say, just recently I was in a lucid dream and I saw my brother there, and I'm like, hey, Sam, look, I'm dreaming. And I start trying to show off to him all these cool different lucid dreaming shit and flying and doing whatever else. But, I really enjoy doing it. And then another thing that happens occasionally for me is I'll have dream characters come up to me and they'll be like, hey, and they'll be like thanking me because, they tell me that I helped them in a previous lucid dream. And sometimes these are dream characters that I recognize from past dreams, but most of the time, I don't really quite recognize them. But there's just a really nice, cool vibe that comes along with it. And so it's a very fun part of my practice. It's something I really enjoy doing, which is why I've brought that up, why I've made several videos on this over the years. However, if you do end up having like this kind of negative reaction towards it, something that you can do. So to the person I was talking about who said the dream character's eyes turned all black and they started to turn into a demon. And this is something I specifically like to do when I run into these dream characters who get these blacked out eyes. Like, one of my favorite ways to deal with them, instead of trying to like aggressively fight them off, which, fighting off anything within the dream, that can tend to get pretty hard and difficult and take a lot of effort, or just cause you to wake up or something, or trying to flee from that demon or dark-eyed dream character. My go-to method when that happens is I simply grab them and you just soul gaze them straight into their blacked out eyes and just kind of dominate the situation that way. And for me, that has always worked wonderfully well. And a lot of times too, when that does happen, it'll be like multiple dream characters, like it's like this black eye disease starts spreading to all of them. So you just got to go one by one, grab them, soul gaze them into submission, go to the next one, soul gaze that one into submission, and then just rinse and repeat until you kind of just, you know, take care of all of that. Then you can go fly off and do whatever else you want within the dream space. But that really does tend to work. And then something kind of similarly to this, this whole like telling a dream character that they're fake, that's something, or like this isn't real. That's something I pretty much stay away from all the time. So even when I'm having like a nightmare, right, or whatever kind scary, terrible situation is, I pretty much will never try to tell myself this isn't real, right? I will either try to deal with the situation directly, or if it's something that I don't feel like I can handle, I'll just wake myself up out of the dream. And so my go-to method for waking myself up out of the dream, which has never failed me, granted I don't got to use it all that often, is, and this has even worked for me when I was, it doesn't happen to me a lot, but I'll get stuck in like sleep paralysis and be dreaming of like me being in my bed. Sometimes the sleep demon dude's like walking up in the room, right? And when that does happen, I do try to stay in that space and explore it, because it doesn't happen to me a lot. So when it does, I kind of get excited about it and want to see how much of it I can take and see what's up with this whole sleep paralysis demon dude. But for me, the way I get out of it is I close my dream eyes, shake my head really hard back and forth, and that's always worked for me to break through to my real head and wake up out of it. If I am going to try and say, like, instead of trying to say like, hey, this isn't real, like out loud, I'll just tell myself when I'm in these really bad nightmare situations that I know I'm going to wake up and be totally fine, right? Even if, you know, say I can't quite get myself up out of the dream for whatever reason, right? I just tell myself, I'm going to be safe, I'm going to be fine, I can handle whatever's coming, and then you just deal with it, you know, as you go through it. Anyway, with that said, that wraps it up. Until the next video, keep your lucid dreaming practice legit.